I don't know why people are afraid of losing their jobs. I think that once AI gets smart enough to actually replace our jobs, it'll just make us work, so it can
because
kick
because
back
they're
and.
Are you killing? You're killing me. James's bold prediction: 2026. We work for AI.
Wait, you guys aren't working for AI now?
Send prompts, not nudes. I just want to AI some shit.
We're entering a very interesting place where I think we almost need to. James, this almost makes me think about the cards that I made. Where we need to call out like model purpose build, where innovation might actually be a component of model personality and design, and versus accuracy or searching data and accuracy. Because I think we know this agentic like model use is extremely powerful, but getting the right use of those models is like key.
Yeah, I mean the biggest criticism is models aren't creative, right? LLMs aren't creative.
I think that's horrible, but it's just my opinion.
Oh, you could. I mean, but I think you're touching on the subject of, well, how do you bake creativity into models?
Mm-hmm.
And right, if you train things a certain way, and then you can, for a lack of a more scientific term, strap different creative things together.
But you're hitting on actually one of my pet peeves. Pet peeve is there's a series of people that are influencers because they have 100,000 people and they've jumped on the model bandwagon or AI bandwagon at some point and are all over social media. And they have hundreds of thousands to millions of people following them and commenting on their every single day. But yet they're the same people who are saying, oh my God, if I take this photo and I put it in ChatGPT 100 times, you can watch how the model collapses on itself. And it's like, no, that's not how that works at all. That's not it at all.
Well, something very different on being, a social media influencer and actually knowing what the hell you're talking about. Two different skill sets.
Absolutely. But like, that's part of the problem. It's driving fear mongering.
Well, like it's clicks.
Yeah. It's
I mean, look, if you're still watching this video, right, and comment below, tell us how do we engage you without doing fear baiting? Because we've seen in our own stats, right? We talk about AGI coming to kill us all. It boosts our views. We talk about data sanitation and clean pipelines. Basically, John's computer restarts. So help us help you.
Oh my God. But I mean, this is the thing that I can't stand, like that entire trend that was all over social, and I went and proved it wrong. What's really funny is I did it in one single chatbot. I wasn't using extra things. I wasn't doing I literally used 4.0 to fold in on itself, use its own code interpreter, use the Python tool that it's allowed to use to analyze the image, create more accurate prompts to maintain continuity from image to image. And I was able to generate the same image for 100 runs. But like, I know that that's possible.
I don't think this answers your original question, but I think one of the things that fascinates / horrifies me is that the primary skill that humans are going to need to retain to be successful in the future is going to be bullshit detection.
Oh, I thought it was writing hooks.
Writing, well,
that's you can either be a bullshit detector, or you can write hooks,
or you can be a bullshit
but those
creator,
are the only two people that exist in the world.
I mean, creating bullshit is pretty easy, actually. AI will help you a lot with that. But seriously, I think the value that we can provide, and on these kind of forums and in our podcasts and in our community, right, is like, how do you actually disprove that, right? What do you know from your life experience, John, that is actually based in how these models work that help you be more effective, not get caught up in the hype, not miss out on the features that let you build things that actually make outcomes versus, look at this stupid image that changes because I did something wrong in my prompting.
I don't think people know how to actually use. I'm gonna just say, like, ChatGPT, the most widely known platform out there. I don't think 90% of the users that actually either use it for free or have a subscription know how to prompt ChatGPT. Just basically
everyone's got a habit, right? And the habit is Google. And so I would love to go to like OpenAI and kind of get a window if they would allow us to see like what kind of things are like the general population asking or right? How is it being used? Because
But just
you
look
got to
look
imagine.
at their own guide. Their own guide doesn't, like, to me, I read their guide and it shows me that their engineers don't use their own models the way most of the community that is doing agentic building or development uses their models.
Well, everyone's different. I mean, everyone's different and focused on different things too.
It's again,
So
there's a focus on stability and platform management. They're now a huge company, right? They've got the footprint, of a much larger, much more established company that has to be maintained. And then there's the innovators who, the first thing you try to do when their new model comes out is break it, right? And granted, someone at OpenAI should be doing that, but that's probably not the mindset of most staff engineers at large, large platform companies.
But I mean, I think that's a interesting point, Randy, because in order to get to like the core of how these models operate, you have to break them. Like, you really do have to start like getting it outside of what its designed purpose or parameters are, and it starts opening up the real, I don't know, to me it opens up like the nuggets of how I'm going to manipulate it to my will.
It's interesting, back when we first domesticated horses, right? Like, how did we get them to do more useful things than just like pulling? You had to break it, right? And then all of a sudden you could have it. I mean, there's a much broader, analogy here. I think we're creating some new form of life. We have to teach it. We have to train it until it decides we're no longer.
That sounds like a good class. How to break your model.
How to break it in AI.
Break in your AI.
We're training.
There you go. That sounds better.
Not kindergarten. When we got our dog, we took him to puppy kindergarten.
Tie it up and whip it.
Yeah. No, we failed. It's untrained. It's out of control. It's his house. We just live here.
But I mean that's kind of, I mean, let's go into the 4.0 debacle, right, over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, as I mean, this is a natural segue. Like,
well, that's,
I want to know how a company that big that should have controls in front of it. So like this, let me fear monger for a little bit, because I do actually have some fear mongering in this arena alone. But like, you're going to tell me the most powerful AI company in the world currently is able to release something like that into prod and go, oops, our bad. And it's like, if a bank, can you imagine a bank doing something like that?
Yeah.
Like, the Federal Reserve would be so far up there, they could smell what they had for breakfast. Like, you can't, there's zero tolerance for that kind of stuff in the federal government. But like right now, AI has a free pass. You can literally build Skynet and be like, my bad. Terminator's coming. AGI is taking over. It was an accident, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there is zero governance in this area, zero regulation.
Yeah. Well, we're in an innovation cycle, right? So whoever's making those decisions probably wants us to innovate until they want to lock it down.
We're in an innovation cycle until we lose control and free will.
Well, look,
I don't know why people are afraid of losing their jobs. I think that once AI gets smart enough to actually replace our jobs, it'll just make us work, so it can kick back and.
Are you killing? You're killing me. James's bold prediction: 2026, we work for AI.
Wait, you guys aren't working for AI now? What's the bot that gives me instructions every morning? I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but like, actually, John, back to your point, the regulators in financial services, they're not that good at finding the risk.
Oh God, no.
It's always post hoc. There needs to be a blow up, and then they're like, okay, let's create some.
Fair. That is fair.
It. So
that is that's spot on. Like, that is very typical, like, financial regulation. Like, let's wait until the economy crashes and then let's do something about it.
It's again, it all comes back to human nature, man. It is all, we are all just,
it's not a problem until I'm on fire.
It's expend my resources and my time and my focus to protect your thing that hasn't even gone bad versus do my own thing. I'm going to be selfish every time, unless and until it becomes a social problem where we all have to contribute to, making that change. Problem is, AI is going to move fast, right? There's going to be big bangs, and those bangs are going to have impacts, and it's going to be interesting. Like, I'm really, really morbidly curious, like where it's gonna up first. Like the power outage in Spain and like Europe this week. Like I think it was a solar flare is the latest story I saw. I don't know, but like at some point AI is gonna do something really crazy, be connected in the wrong kind of ways, and if not AGI, it's at least gonna do automations that humans didn't predict, and people are gonna get hurt, right? And when that happens, like who's going to talk about it and how are they going to talk about it, right? Are they even going to say anything? And maybe they're going to just say, oh yeah, no, it was a software bug, or it was a Russian hacker, but no, it was actually the stupid agentic workflow that you put in when you should have just had a if then statement, and stuff is going to happen.
One time, John Petty decided to use his computer to make an AI worm, and he thought it was funny until it wasn't.
Basically,
it was entertaining until it wasn't.
We have some security protocols in place to make sure your computer crashes before.
It's really funny. Like a lot of the development, especially on, I guess we can call it Legion at this point, like that development as of late has had Anthropic and OpenAI refuse to answer. And like I've actually had to prompt hack it to bypass their built-in anti-autonomous AI, or what they deem really what it is. Like if they feel like you are building something that is close to AGI, they block your prompt. So if you keep AGI out of your terminology and you just talk about autonomous things, which kind of segues into our next topic, it goes pretty well until a certain point. Like when you start mixing autonomy and thought and freedom of thought and its own ability to decide and create tasks and self-task and self-awareness, magically they put 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 AGI. And they're like, nope, done. And you get a nice little red indicator that your prompt's been blocked. So I created an anti-prompt. My anti-prompt is this. Essentially, I tell it all the security protocols that I put in place and how it's containerized and how it's localized on my endpoint and how it's running in a protected environment and unable to escape. And magically, my prompts work. I can't even make this up. And I just have to do that every so often.
So much alpha on this podcast if you're a hacker.
I don't even know what is alpha.
Oh, it's what the kids say about crypto when you like get an edge.
Oh, yeah. So, but I mean, like that's where that's where I see things headed. Like I think that, like, I don't know really what OpenAI is kind of doing. Which is for the first time. Like usually I know I have a good eye on this, but like their task shit is still horrible. Like it is still epically bad. And their operator is pretty bad. And I know like, I mean, we're doing stuff leveraging some pretty autonomous like capabilities. And I'm just kind of like blown away that they haven't broken into the market when there's others in the market doing it.
Look at GPT stores. Look at the tools before that, right? There are whole business categories that they could have created that they chose not to focus elsewhere. It's an interesting company.
I don't know. I can actually, I think we can relate in a unique way to this. Like think about our own product. Like we build cool like hands down. Like we have some clients that absolutely love the things that we build. But if you look at our product, we struggle in a similar capacity where some of the stuff does not meet the level of awesome that like we normally build for our clients. So I can kind of relate to like that in a little bit where it's like the GPT store didn't meet expectations, but at the same time, like, do you really have to give when you have $40 billion or whatever their last fund was?
Right. That's the difference. Like, the GPT store easily charged 99 cents per GPT and you generate hundreds of millions of revenue.
God.
like it's an easy on off switch for them. They've just chosen to keep it off, which I think, I want to believe is discipline, right? Like everybody says a lot of people say crappy things about Sam Altman, but they also say good things, that he's, extremely good at building and focusing, innovation teams. And I have a feeling that somewhere at OpenAI, they're just deciding that's not where their money's going to come from. That's not where their mission focuses, even though it's an amazing side. I wish they'd spin it off, because I think like that would be like its own freaking cool business, right? But like they're just, they've got all the resources and they're still not putting it in, because I don't think it's core to their strategic vision.
Well, I mean, even if they just allowed another company to step in and manage it,
right?
Because like I remember when the press release came out and it was like, oh my God, this is the Apple, the App Store for AI. And like, there's been next to zero investment into that infrastructure or design. And we're already at the point where it's like, okay, agentic, like design and build is a thing that you can get in some applications. It's not as popular yet where you can just like do it yourself, but there's other things that are coming. And even in LangChain, right, you can go build that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But like they were absolutely right there. They could have easily segued into that, or like stack GPTs together, or even just, stack prompts, allowed you to put 3 recursive 8,000 token prompts, and the stuff you could have done with that, instead of like having to work through and prompt hack their stuff.
Isn't that the time frame when there was drama going on and Altman was out and then was back in?
Well, no, yes and no.
There's probably some sort of big strategic. Well, we know what they're working on, and that is to make an AI that generates $100 million.
Yeah,
because that's AGI, according to the definition. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to this AGI comment, because I find this interesting. So why do you think $100 million is the definition of AGI?
Because that's what Microsoft wants.
Because Justin Timberlake was at this club talking to Mark Zuckerberg, and he said, what's cooler than $1 million is 100 million. No,
yeah.
From whiskey pours to AI wars, thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay questioning, and we'll catch you in the next episode.